Dreams. We're all born with them. Dreams of adventure, of finding a sense of purpose, meaning, of reaching our full potential. And wherever your dreams take you, your journey starts with UAC.
I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Hello and welcome to Let's Chat. We're here today to talk to our university panellists about studying pathway courses and what are they. Today on our panel, we have a number of student recruitment people from our universities, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, tell us where they're from, and of course the location of their university. If we start with Peter, please.
Thanks, Trudy. So obviously my name is Peter. I'm from Western Sydney University, and well, firstly, we're home to 49,500 students with 11 campuses across Sydney. And we do offer a wide range of degrees with multiple entry pathways, such as like our HSC True Reward program, our diplomas through the college, our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander pathway program, and our tertiary education pathways. And we do rank within the top 2% of universities worldwide, with a growing worldwide reputation for research-led student-centered learning. And
where are you actually located, Peter?
Where we're located, so to give you clarity on that, so Parramatta, we've got Penrith, Hawkesbury, Campbelltown, Sydney City itself, right in the heart of the CBD, Parramatta City as well, one Parramatta Square. Gosh, there's quite a few. Bankstown campus with our new Bankstown CBD campus coming up should be next year. We should be offering humanities and psychology related degrees. So yeah, we've kind of all over the place.
That's okay. So metropolitan Sydney, which is great for students to know. I'm going to move on to Macquarie now.
Yeah, hi, Tim Welling from Macquarie University. So we're in Sydney, the northern part of Sydney, only a few kilometres out of the CBD in a place called Macquarie Park, which was one of the largest growing innovation districts and tech precincts in Australia, which is quite exciting. So we get to collaborate with some really exciting companies who are our neighbours, such as Foxtel and Optus and Johnson & Johnson and a few great big companies as well.
And we're going to move on to Charles Darwin.
Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm from Charles Darwin University. We are a dual sector university, so we offer both vocational education and training as well as higher education courses. We are located across the territory. Our main campus is here at Casuarina campus in Darwin, but we also have our Palmerston campus, our waterfront. We're in Katherine, Alice Springs, and we also have a campus there in Sydney on George Street.
Fantastic. And I'm now going to go on to Southern Cross University.
Thanks, Trudy. So my name's Ellen from Southern Cross University. We have 3 main campuses, which you can probably see above my head. We're in Gold Coast, Lismore and beautiful Coffs Harbour, which is where I'm coming to you from.
Thank you. And Australian Catholic University.
Hi, my name's Paige. So I'm from the Australian Catholic University. We have 8 campuses in Australia and 1 campus in Rome, Italy. Our 8 campuses in Australia are Adelaide, Ballarat, Melbourne. Then moving to New South Wales ACT is Canberra, Blacktown, which is new this year, North Sydney and Strathfield, and then up to Queensland in Brisbane.
So it sounds like many of you have a number of different campuses, which is really great for students if they're, living all over the place. So that's really great information to know. I'm going to now talk about, pathway courses and what we mean by pathway courses. Many students apply to university every year, and some students don't actually, make or receive an offer into their chosen degree that they're wanting to study. Now, what happens there is that they've just not met the ATAR or the lowest selection rank for a course. And so universities can sometimes offer what we call a pathway course. So something else that they can study because they've not met the entry requirements for the particular course they want. However, there are some pathway courses that students can actually list on their UAC application. But I'm going to ask you, Tim, what different pathway courses does Macquarie have on offer if a student doesn't meet the entry requirements for the degree?
Yeah, thanks, Trudy. Yeah, and at Macquarie, we have a number of courses where we're looking at the student to give them opportunities and different avenues to get into their dream university degree. So we run a number of our pathway courses through our college. Now, our college is located on campus. You're a Macquarie student from day one. And there's no difference between studying at the college or studying in a Bachelor of Commerce in our Macquarie Business School. It's all part of the same university. You get all access to all the same services. So our college runs a number of programs. The first, and this is a new one that started at the end of last year, which is our undergraduate certificates. We have at the moment 12 undergraduate certificates. Now, how these actually work is you get to study, these only go for essentially 2 7-week terms. So it's essentially half a year, and you study 4 units, and these are the same units you would study in your bachelor degree. Once you complete those 4 units, you can actually articulate straight into the second session of your chosen, that nominated bachelor degree. And it's at the same cost, and there's no additional time. You get credit for those 4 units. So it's essentially all the same as doing your bachelor degree. But at our college, you study in a more supportive environment where there's smaller class sizes. So you get more attention and focus from the teachers that help with your transition into uni. So you can build those university skills so you can be successful when you transition into your degree full time. We also offer 4 diplomas as well, which go on for 1 year, and those diplomas articulate into the second year of your nominated or chosen or bachelor degree. So again, all the subjects you study, you get full credit for. You get guaranteed credit for those, and it's again the same cost as your undergraduate degree. So for no additional cost or time, you get to transition straight into those nominated bachelor degrees. And the selection rank for those is 60. So they are at a lower entry point, as you can say, than additional bachelor degree. So and your selection rank is made up from your ATAR and also your adjustment factors that you might be eligible for as well, which make up your selection rank. We do also offer 2 additional programs, what we call our foundation programs, the standard foundation or intensive program. These have a selection rank of 50, and they build your academic skills and literacy, as we like to say. And when you complete those programs, then you get to transition into the first year of your chosen undergraduate degree. So they more focus on building the skills of the student and setting them up for success prior to starting that undergraduate degree. And the difference between the 2 is intensive programs based on your Year 12 results is the entry requirement, and only goes for essentially 3 or 4 months. It goes for 2 7-week terms, whereas the standard foundation is based only on Year 11 results and goes for a full year of study.
Well, there's a range of options then for students at Macquarie. But Ellen, Southern Cross, do you have similar type of program? Do you have a college as well?
Yes, absolutely. So we have what's called the SCU College, and there are definitely some similarities to what Tim was just explaining at Macquarie as well. So basically, if a student comes to us and wants to study and hasn't met the ATAR requirements, there's 3 different options. So through the SCU College. So the first program we have is called Transition to Uni. And that is purely for school leavers, so Year 12 students who didn't quite get the ATAR they were after. It's a 6-week intensive program taught basically over the summer period. So if you finish high school in October, November, didn't quite get the ATAR but still want to start uni with your mates in session 1 the next year, so in February or March, you have the Transition to Uni program, which is completely free. It's government funded, so you don't pay any course fees to do that. And it's what I like to call a boot camp. So it's 6 weeks to get your academic skills up to scratch. And if you succeed in that course, you're guaranteed entry into one of our bachelor's degrees. So that is a fantastic option for school leavers. The other thing we have is our Preparing for Success program, which we've taught for years really, really well. Excuse me. And we've done a lot of research into this Preparing for Success program, and actually shows students that complete this program go on to get higher grades than students who don't. So even if they do come in ATAR eligible, this program that we do, it's another boot camp style, I call it. It really brings the students' skills and knowledge up to speed so that they can succeed at university. So that one takes 1 study period, so that you're looking at about 3 to 4 months for that one. so one semester, or a session as we call it. And it is similar to transition to uni, but it's at a slower pace. So you do 4 units of study and you learn everything you need to know to go on to that bachelor's degree. Again, you're guaranteed entry with that one into a bachelor's degree of your choice. And you also don't have any course fees. That one's government funded as well, so completely free to do. And it just gets you in the right state of mind, headspace, organised and ready to focus once you do get into that bachelor's degree. So that's called preparing for success for a reason, because we do feel that it really does prepare you to be successful at university. And then the third option we have is your short courses, so undergraduate certificates or diplomas, like Tim spoke about, where you go into your field of study that you're interested in. So you might want to do a Bachelor of Business, but you start off in a Diploma of Business. You do 1 year of your diploma with more support and more structured time with your tutors in the college. You get your 1 year credit, and then you can then go on to do your bachelor's degree. So they're the 3 sort of options, and it just depends on the individual what sort of pathway they would choose, and we would work with them to decide what was most suitable for their circumstances.
Fantastic. And once again, lots of options for students who have not made, the entry into their chosen degree. Their ATAR's maybe not been so, fantastic. But we always say to students, when you get your ATAR, if it's not what you were hoping for, you please don't worry. There are so many different options. But Peter, I'm going to ask you, and Western Sydney has got their college, which is quite, really well known because it's been around for a long time. But can you give us or tell me some benefits of taking the pathway course for students?
Yeah, so firstly, we do have an early offer program, which is the HSC True Reward program, based on specific HSC subject results rather than just the ATAR. If it is after results are released, students can obviously consider our embedded alternative entry pathway, which, as you said, is the college. And so with the college, we basically offer quite a wide range of diploma programs to prepare you for university. So these courses basically transition you into the associated bachelor's degree second year. We also do have our foundation studies courses, which are a great option for students wanting a pathway into nursing through the college. And we also do have our pathway program for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. So there are quite a few options when we're talking about Western as well.
Fantastic. So, Tanya, Charles Darwin, if a student wanted to do a pathway course through you guys, would that look different to what we've already spoken about? Would they have to come to Darwin? Can they do it in Sydney? What's the option?
They can come to Darwin. If they want to do a vocational education and training, they can use that as a pathway, Cert 4 or higher. It'll get them into a degree, but you do have to be in Darwin for that one, or in the Northern Territory. You can do it in Alice Springs or Katherine as well, and use that as entrance. We also have our undergraduate courses that everyone else has spoken about as well. But then we also have our tertiary enabling program. This is a free online course, so you can do it in Sydney. You can do it from anywhere you want to do it from. Free 1 semester. On successful completion of that, you can go in and do a degree. For our Indigenous students, we have the Preparation for Tertiary Success program. That is very similar to our tertiary enabling program as well, with lots of support surrounding that.
And Paige, at ACU, do you have similar programs, and what would be the benefit to a student, completing one of those pathway programs?
We definitely do have some similar programs, and then also one difference that I'll mention as well. Our similar programs are our foundation studies, which is held at our Blacktown campus. One of the benefits of studying foundation studies is that upon completion, as long as you get your required grade and take your required electives, you actually get guaranteed entry into any ACU course at any ACU campus across Australia. So that's a really large benefit of doing one of our pathway programs. Along with our certificates and diplomas, where we give credit for completing them. And with all of our pathway programs, you're an ACU student from day one, you've got the same resources. So there's absolutely a lot of benefits that you get from coming to study with us. Our other slight difference is our campus transfers. So as I mentioned, we do have a lot of campuses around Australia. Some of them, depending on where they are, may have a slightly lower selection rank. So if you're maybe like teetering between a couple, you might be able to start your bachelor degree at one of our other campuses if you're willing to move away for a year and then transfer into your preferred campus later.
Fantastic. Tim, I'm going to go to you. If a student completes a pathway course, does this impact their job prospects if they go that pathway and then on to a degree?
Absolutely not, for a few reasons too. And, it's quite a common question as well. And the reason being, looking at our pathway programs and similar to a lot of the other universities, you're actually studying the same subjects and the same information you would in that chosen bachelor degree. And you are walking away from university with the same bachelor degree. And in a lot of cases with the undergraduate certificates as an example, you'll walk away from university with an undergraduate certificate in, let's say, business and a Bachelor of Business in the same amount of time it takes a student to get just an undergraduate Bachelor of Business if you had direct entry into that. So you walk away with the same qualification, you're learning the same information and the same subject. So there's actually no difference. And in some ways, I've heard employers actually like the work ethic of pathway students because they didn't get direct entry. So they had to look for another way to get into university. It shows a level of commitment and resourcefulness to find a way to get their desired goal of a university degree. And it shows a bit of tenacity about them too. So I think if anything, it probably improves it and shows a really great, strong work ethic and commitment to getting your education.
So essentially they're coming away with 2 qualifications.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly right. They're in the same amount of time for a lot of them to get one degree, they actually would leave university with potentially 2 or even 3 qualifications as well.
And I expect, Peter, at the college there, if a student completed that, diploma course, they could then decide, hey, well, maybe university, further studies isn't right for me right now, but they're then walking away with a diploma. That's correct, isn't it? And they can use that for employment, I would expect.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I think the main thing about going for a pathway, and in our case, the college, it definitely further enhances a student's skills for when they enter the workforce. And actually, on many occasions, we've had students who have proceeded from our various pathways into their degrees and outperform students who've actually received direct entry into the university because they've had that foundational kind of knowledge. So you're definitely not looked down upon if you've taken a pathway. Rather, it just shows, Tim touched on this as well, your dedication, it shows your dedication to the field and you've had a thorough educational experience within the respective field of study.
Now, we've talked about the university colleges and what you have on offer on campus, but Ellen, can you tell me, do you accept other pathways? Like if a student went off to TAFE, would you accept that as a pathway course into university?
Absolutely, yes. So our admissions team assess that on a case-by-case basis. However, yeah, if you've done a certificate for or a diploma at TAFE, they're both really good entry pathway options in because you've proven that you can study at a certain level, you can commit and you can complete something. So yeah, if you've done that diploma level or Cert 4 study, that's also a really great pathway into degrees with us at Southern Cross.
And could students get credit for prior learning if they've studied at TAFE?
Absolutely. So a good example of that is our EN to RN pathway. So if students have done their enrolled endorsed nursing course through TAFE, which I believe is at the diploma level, they can come into us with a whole year of what we call advanced standing or credit for prior learning off their Bachelor of Nursing degree. And then instead of being a 3-year university degree, it's only a 2-year university degree. And you'll find that across a lot of other degrees as well. Things like social sciences also have a TAFE articulation pathway. And then other things like psychology, you could have just at our university, for example, our psychology degree has what's called 8 elective units. So if a student's done a diploma in any area of study at TAFE or at another training provider, they could come into our Bachelor of Psychological Science and have some credit for prior learning for those elective options because they have already studied at that diploma level. So there's lots of different recognition for prior learning and prior knowledge, and lots of different TAFE articulation pathways as well.
That's fantastic news. Paige, I know, Ellen's just talked about nursing. I know a lot of students look at nursing at ACU. So same sort of thing, if a student went off to TAFE and did their nursing there, would they get that credit with ACU?
Yes, they definitely would. Nursing was a great example to pick, Ellen. Thank you so much. But so that does have the same as Southern Cross. We do have that articulation pathway. And I'll just also point out, we've all mentioned articulation pathways. And I guess to explain slightly what that is it's a preset amount of credit that you'll receive. But at ACU, and I'm sure the other universities, even if we don't have specific articulation pathways, we still may be able to provide credit for your prior learning. So just because you don't see a specific articulation pathway, don't feel like we won't give you credit for that. We just have to look at your units a little bit more closely, see where they align and what we can give you credit for.
Fantastic. And Tanya, if a student here in New South Wales completed TAFE, could they use that for entry at Charles Darwin as well?
They can if it's a certificate 4 or higher, so a certificate 4 or diploma. Advanced diploma can be used to get in and do a degree here at Charles Darwin University. So our vocational education and training is actually your TAFE. So it's all your certificate level courses. And the great thing I have to say for VET/TAFE as being a pathway is that it can be like building blocks into university. So you can do, Cert 1, 2, 3, 4 diploma into a degree. And for each one that you do, you actually get credit. So if you do a certificate 4, when you get in to do your degree, you can get up to 40 credit points, which is similar to 1 semester off your degree. If you've done a diploma, it can be up to 80 credit points, which is a year off your degree as well.
Well, that's good news. Really good if you can study something that's going to get you to where you want to be and then get a little bit of recognition for what you've already done once you get in. Tim, can you tell me at Macquarie, if a student is, done a pathway course, when would they find out about getting credit for their prior learning? That's a big question that we get, and I expect something that you would get as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Credits, especially anyone who's done a pathway course, whether it's internally with Macquarie or external, credits probably the number one question, because you want to be recognised for the work and learning you've already done, and absolutely rightfully so. Firstly, if you start with Macquarie with one of our pathway courses, so the undergraduate certificate or the diplomas, your credit's guaranteed. You don't need to apply it. You actually know what credit you're going to get before you even start the course, because you're actually doing the same units as those first year units you would do in your bachelor course. So you don't need to apply for the credit, it's already there and guaranteed. As far as credit for students who may have attended TAFE and done a diploma or a Cert 4, as mentioned before from some of the other universities. Again, we have a number of articulation and credit agreements up on our website, so you can jump on, have a look, and you can actually see ahead of time what you most likely will get. Even if the diploma or the Cert 4 you do is slightly different, it can give you an idea. But at the same time, you can apply, and we encourage, as soon as you have an offer, you can apply for credit. And so as soon as you get that offer, submit your application to our RPL team, and they'll assess your application. Normally do it pretty quick, within 10 to 20 days. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, closer to session 1 start date, when they're probably getting inundated with credit applications. But within a couple of weeks at most, you'll get an answer on your credit, and then you can build your timetable from there.
And Peter, at Western Sydney, the diploma courses from your college, is it the same sort of thing as what Tim's saying? It's automatic and students don't need to apply, or is it quite different when it comes to the credit?
It's pretty much bang on with what Tim's saying. It's it is guaranteed entry and course credit when entering the corresponding degree. So students who are transferring from one of our tertiary education providers, so being TAFE or whatever, or in this case, the college, they do gain course credit, and that's confirmed within a 2-week period. So it's relatively quite quick. So actually, just on that point I mentioned a little earlier, I did forget to mention before that we do have entry pathways from our tertiary partners. So I'll mention TAFE as an example. So that's also an option for students too. So that's guaranteed course credit.
Yeah, I know from the admissions point of view, when students apply for university, if with TAFE qualifications, most universities will look at entry, based on those TAFE qualifications, but that there is then up to each individual institution as to how they apply that credit. And in many cases, we see that you have to actually be made an offer before you can actually apply for that credit. Very different if the university has their own college and there is that straight out transfer from one course to the other, which makes it a lot easier for students, of course. But it's really everyone has their own pathway, whether that be TAFE or, of course, one of the university colleges. I just am going to go around to each and every one of you, just to so that you can give us a little bit more of an overview of your institution, and also what tip you would give to a student that is got their results, found that they're not really going to get into the degree that they want. What tip would you give them in terms of going forward and looking at these pathway courses? I'll start with you, Peter.
So look, that is a good question, and I'm glad you've asked that, because I was actually one of those students once upon a time, and I'm a firm believer in just enjoying the journey. As hard as that is to believe, you got to try to enjoy the journey and gain as much information as you can. So students that are watching this, you've already done yourself justice by seeking out the information as a first step, but you really want to tap into as many information channels as possible, so that way you can make the most informed decision on your tertiary education, because it really does open doors for you when you do complete higher education. It's quite scary. It is definitely very, very scary. I'd be lying to you if I said to you that I wasn't at all. But thankfully, I did have a lot of support channels, such as obviously our parents. That definitely helps. Your careers advisors, they are the experts in what's out there right now, how universities work. And obviously, there's a whole bunch of careers expos and markets that occur every year. I mean, last year was the exception, at least face-to-face ones. But I mean, they're fantastic opportunities for students to meet all the tertiary providers and seeing what they offer and how best they can cater for their needs and wants. So enjoy the journey.
Yeah, and of course, talking on expos and such, ways of people being able to contact universities. The university open days are a huge thing, and we here at UAC are always saying the university open days are one of the best ways to find out about not just the degrees, but also what's on offer at the universities and what kind of pathway courses they have, because you've got to keep all those options open, because at the end of the day, you just never know what's going to happen. I'll move to you, Tim.
Yeah, it's funny when you're talking about tips, and this is something that I think a lot of students don't realise how to use them, and that's their UAC preferences. That's one of the best tools a student has to really give a bit of certainty and a bit of direction about what they're going to do with applying to university, if potentially they are worried about their marks, or maybe their previous study history. So what we advise guys to do, or students to do, is put your top 1 or 2 dream degrees as your top 1 or 2 preferences. They're preferences for a reason, and put them there because you never know, you might get those marks, that ATAR, or actually get a direct offer to that degree. Then put in those pathway options as maybe preferences 3, 4, and 5. So, for example, you might put a degree, maybe you want to do business analytics, or maybe you want to do law, or whatever it might be, put that as your top 1. But then maybe put a lower degree, like a Bachelor of Arts, that has an entry rank of 75 as option 2, but then put the UG Cert as number 3, because that's an entry rank of a selection rank of 60. And then maybe look at the intensive program and put that as option number 4. That way you've kind of, used your preferences wisely, and you know that, hey, if I don't get an offer for my top degree, I've got a couple of backups for me. And that gives you a bit of maybe reassurance and options there as well. And as Peter said, do your research, go to the open days, listen to the universities, because every university is different, but at the same time, the university, I'm a strong believer, has to fit you. It has to kind of match you as a person. So get out there and see those universities, see which one you feel you feel comfortable with, and then look at their programs and see which ones offer those degrees that you're really interested for. And I can't agree with Peter enough. Doing that research and getting out there and seeing those open days and is the way to do it. But use your preferences wisely. They're preferences for a reason. So preference your courses. Put those pathway programs in there as your backup options, but don't give up on your dream degree straight off the bat. Keep that there as your top degree, because sometimes students around the HSC time can be a bit worried and negative on themselves, and you probably will get those marks, especially with the adjustment factors too. You'd be surprised that you might still get an offer to that dream degree.
Yeah, and that's really great advice, Tim, I have to say, and exactly what we would say here at UAC. Use your preferences wisely. If your ATAR doesn't come out the way you were hoping, just at least put that pathway course at the bottom, which is interesting as in itself. So, we can put pathway courses on the UAC application from Macquarie, yes?
Absolutely, yeah. So all the pathway courses I spoke about today, such as the UG certificates, the diplomas, and the intensive and standard foundation programs, you apply through UAC as well. So yeah, absolutely. We do have 1 or 2 programs which are direct applications, which you can jump on our website and look at, such as like Next Step, and we do offer OUA as well, Open Universities Australia. But those key pathway programs I spoke about, put it on your UAC application. You apply the same way you would a bachelor degree.
Thank you. Tanya.
Oh, I have to agree with Peter and Tim and everything they've said. Do your research, don't panic. Would be one of the first ones. Don't get down on yourself. Know your options. Like, get out there, research, see what your options are, and always put what you really want to do as your number 1 preference. Because like we said, when you're putting in those applications, you don't know what you're going to come out with as an ATAR.
That's right.
That would be mine. Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far.
Fantastic. Ellen, Southern Cross tips. What are these students going to do?
Look, I do agree definitely wholeheartedly with what everyone's already said, and I echo that with my message. I guess the most important thing I would really love to convey to anyone watching this is don't give up on it might have been what you wanted to do when you were 5, it might have been what you want to do now, or it might be just that thing that you can't stop thinking about, whether that's, working in a certain industry or succeeding in something. Just don't give up on that, because these people that are thinking about studying are in such an amazing and exciting time in their life. And it is very easy to go, oh, I won't get in, or I can't do that. There are 100 different ways through a door. If you can't get in the front door, come in the side door, knock it down, blow it down, whatever you need to do. Stick with that thing that makes you really excited and what would make you feel really proud if you were able to achieve that, because you can do it. And now is a really exciting time in your life to be able to have a really good crack at succeeding in that field. So I would definitely say don't give up and don't be deterred by a rank or a circumstance or anything like that. Try and stick with it, and you do what you really, really want to do, instead of just going, oh, I suppose this sounds like a good option, I'll do that. So do the thing that excites you and keep trying to get there, because you will. I think what we've heard from all of the universities, if there's a certain course or a certain field you want to go into, when there's a will, there is a way. So don't give up would be my advice.
Fantastic. Paige, I'm actually going to ask you the hard question, and it's something that we get here at UAC all the time, and I'm sort of thinking you might as well, and that is, many students will say, hey, if I do a pathway course, I'm going to add on a year and it's going to take me a long time, and it's wasting my time. What would you say to someone that said that?
Thank you, Trudy, for just mixing it up. I was prepared to agree with everyone else. Depending on the pathway that you pick, sometimes it may add a little bit of extra time. But often, as we've all discussed, you may be able to articulate into your second semester, your second year, you get credit. So it may not be as much time as you're thinking. It may not be any time at all. Definitely look into those different pathway options, but also, as Peter said before, like enjoy the journey. We've had people that have started on pathway courses because they're like, oh, if I do this course, then maybe I can transfer. And then they've actually found out that they really loved that and they've gone off in an entirely different direction. They've gone and done a bachelor and a master's in what they didn't think they were going to, because they've discovered a new area, because they were open to the possibility. And that's not to say they definitely can't. Being open and going with the flow, it may add, a little bit extra time. It may not. Check those different pathway options, see what credit you're going to stress about the time. University's fun. Come out, hang out with us longer. We'll have you. But it is an enjoyable journey. So I wouldn't stress about that. You'll get to where you need to be. Just enjoy where you're going.
And even something as simple as a phone call to the university can really help you out. I mean, we've all got experts manning the phones, and at least with Western, we've got current students that man the call center, and more often than not, they can totally relate to whatever current school leavers are going through right now. They've been through it before, so even a simple phone call, shy.
Exactly. Couldn't agree with all of you more, to be quite honest. For those students who, really at the end of the day, just think, oh, I'm just never going to get to the degree. As we've said all along, and thank you for that, Tim, is please keep your dream degree at the top of your preference list. Then another course that may be something similar, and then, of course, your pathway courses at the very end. Make sure that you're contacting the universities to find out what's available to you. If they've got the courses there for you to list on your UAC preferences, then do it. If there's something that's more interesting to you that you need to apply direct for, do it. Just make sure that you open up all your opportunities and keep your options open is the best thing that I could say to you, like all of our panelists here today. I do want to thank you all for being with us today. I know your time is very, very valuable, but you are certainly given all of our audience, all of our students out there, a lot of food for thought and lots of information that they can take away with them. Thanks once again for joining us, and hope to see you next time.
UAC represents many institutions across New South Wales and the ACT. The universities featured in today's webinar are a small selection of the many institutions which offer the courses discussed today. Students should research all university offerings so they can make informed decisions regarding their future study.